This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Hey, what's poppin'?
Not only is he wearing sleeves, everybody, he's wearing a jacket. Which...
Yes,
not enough skin.
It's a bit nippy, and right now we're trying not to turn the heat back on.
I mean, that's fair. It is almost April. It's time to get warm. Anybody else tired of snow?
Send snow my way. I'm not.
I have yet to see. So wait. The nor'easter didn't send any snow to you?
Not in my particular part of Massachusetts. No, we barely got an inch.
My car was frozen shut today, so
that part's not fun.
Yeah. Also joining us is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hey, I don't think you're excited enough.
I don't remember the last time I was like this excited, really, to be honest. Because we have a special guest, everybody, from Yacht Club Games, marketing director. As everybody knows, Shovel Knight is one of my favorite characters of all time. So yeah, we have Celia Schilling, the marketing director of Yacht Club Games, on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is like really exciting to me. I know it's like, you know, some people might be like, oh, whatever, but I gotta tell you, Shovel Knight, I've bought in Shovel Knight 4 or 5 times now, I think. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I think the Spectre Knight campaign is one of the best platformers I think I've ever played. And I'm always looking forward to what Yacht Club is doing next. So I really appreciate your time coming on the show. Why don't you tell people who you are and what you actually do, like kind of what your job is and, you know.
So like you said, I'm the marketing director. I also handle licensing as well, but on the marketing side of things, everything you see from PR to social to community to us appearing in indie directs on Nintendo, I have my hand in it. In addition with licensing, so any type of Arby's collab to appearing in a game, I work with that as well. So a lot of things, we wear a lot of hats.
That's awesome. I want to tell you that I'm glad you mentioned the licensing thing, because one of the only reasons I think I bought Yooka-Laylee was because there was a 3D version of Shovel Knight in it.
That's so funny. I got Yooka-Laylee and then found out about Shovel Knight, so I think we're flip-flops.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Yooka-Laylee, good game. Second one's better, but the first one, I'm like, oh my gosh, if we ever got like a 3D Shovel Knight game, you would lose me. Everybody would just lose me. I mean, I would be gone for probably like 3 weeks.
Side note, a fun fact about Yooka-Laylee is that the person voicing Shovel Knight is Sean Velasco. They had to make a bunch. Yeah, they had to make a bunch of noises. It's really funny.
That's so amazing.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Oh man, I'm so jealous that you have all this information and you actually get to work with this. So you do the marketing and the licensing. You said we actually have a lot of questions from our audience regarding that. So I guess to find out about you, we're going to jump right into these. We have 2 questions about the licensing and marketing side. Ice Malone 330 from Twitter asks, how do y'all prepare for a marketing cycle? How do you know timing on certain things like trailers, interviews, etc.? And then the One True James via Discord asks, what makes a successful marketing campaign? And what steps do you go through?
Let's break this up because it's a lot of information.
It
a
is.
lot of questions.
I kind of just put them together because they were kind of similar.
It is A-okay. Okay, so first off, so the first part of the question was about marketing, like how to make a successful marketing campaign. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for that, when planning, it's kind of focusing on the different beats that you have with messaging. What I mean by that, there's an announcement beat once the public finds out about it in general. Then there is the release date beat and the out now beat. So when looking at the development cycle, you can figure out, okay, when is it time to really start heavily leaning into the campaign? People will announce their games depending on what your game is. Like if you're a AAA title, like I don't know, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, you could announce like 8 years, like back there, and the people will be hyped throughout the process. But for like indie titles or AA or even AAA titles, it's kind of finding that happy medium where you have enough content to tease and share with the community as you announce it and go through your development cycle. Once you hit a release window or release date, that's when things really start hit the ground running because you have a window of time to get the word out about the game before it launches. And everyone has a different style of doing things, whether it be leaning into platform support, guerrilla marketing, paid advertising. There's so many different things that you can do that really develop a creative, successful marketing campaign. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, basically, and using your calendar is your friend. Like as long as you keep track of your dates, you get there.
Yeah, I mean, for my job, I handle a lot of NDAs and embargoes for certain things, and I totally understand that side of it, and trying to hit beats and making sure you're out on time for this beat and stuff. So
yeah, with marketing, everything is timing.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. The One True James also asks, "Who's your favorite Yacht Club Games character?"
Ooh, that's tough. Ugh. So like I really like Plague Knight because he's a shy little boy, but I also really like King Knight because he's an asshole. So it's two different sides of the coin. He's like such a doof, and he's such a mama's boy. I love it. His whole character in general, the writing is genius.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, to be fair, most of the characters in Shovel Knight are great. But yeah, King Knight was actually one of the first games I ever played at PAX. It was like pre-release. Like it was like I remember they at the booth they had to play, and I played like part of the campaign. I think it was like this underground kind of I forget what level it was, but it was kind of like underground, and I was learning how to use the dash because like that was kind of new at the time, at least from what I was playing on Spectre Knight, and then they showed off the card game, and I was wondering if like the card game would be like some sort of. I thought you guys were getting into like a competitive card game with Shovel Knight characters. So yeah, but I just King Knight was one of the first games that I ever played at PAX, and it was funny because I actually went over right after that to the Nintendo booth, and the Dead Cells guys were showing off Dead Cells for the first time, and the guy showing off Dead Cells was like, "Yeah, that Shovel Knight game's like actually really good. I would really love to see Shovel Knight in Dead Cells." It's like, that's so cool. Sorry, I'm just kind of like ranting and raving now because I'm so excited.
That was totally fun.
Christian S asks, "Can't wait to hear this. I'd love to hear about Yacht Club Games' experience with licensing their characters out to other developers and collaborators as Shovel Knight's popularity has grown."
So for Shovel Knight, Shovel Knight's been in like over like 50 licensed campaigns over the years. And to be honest, licensing is a really complicated song and dance. Things were a little bit more lackadaisical back in the early days because it was like, oh, can Shovel Knight be in your game? Yeah, sure. Or like, we have Shovel Knight in our game, or whatever the conversation was. And it was kind of like a high five and like, let's do it. But as things have grown, you have to like lean a little bit into legal. But the cool thing about our team is that we're really hands-on and we're really collaborative. Like if someone has a really cool idea, we'll sit there and be like, oh, like how do we help support this and like make it even better? So it's, I don't even remember the question, but it's been really fun.
Yeah, he was just asking about like licensing and how you handle like the character in so many games.
Oh yeah. So for things that we look for, is it brand appropriate? Shovel Knight is a E for everyone game, so that's something to keep in mind. Other things is like, could we see Shovel Knight in that universe? The thing is, though, is we've always envisioned Shovel Knight as like an all-encompassing franchise, so it's cool to see him in unique new ways. Like we have him like as like a Fall Guys suit. We had him in Ukulele. He's even been in For Honor, Ubisoft's game. He has like a skin, so people
Mhm.
could have like really cool like propeller rat like armor as well. Pretty
That's the only
cool.
reason why I downloaded For Honor.
That's so funny. But yeah, I know there's this one game, one of our early licensing deals. It was Road to Redemption, and Shovel Knight rides a motorcycle, and I'm pretty sure the team was just like, "That's really sick. Let's do it." Um, but with licensing, it just also depends, like nowadays, like on bandwidth, if we're able to give it that effort and that like tender loving care that we like to.
Right.
But I would love to see Shovel Knight in anything and everything.
Yeah. I think the biggest one that at least our Nintendo audience is Shovel Knight's assist trophy in Smash,
Mhm.
and I I was excited, but I was also disappointed that he wasn't a playable character. I mean, I don't know if you really know what went into getting Shovel Knight in Smash, but that's probably like the ultimate kind of, you know, reward of having this character that is so kind of beloved by, you know, a group of gamers, right? And to see
Mhm.
him in Smash, you know, just being in the game is probably super cool.
It is really cool. We can't get into too much details about the process of how
Right.
Shovel Knight became a assist trophy,
Right.
but let's just cover it up with we high fived Nintendo, and it was a really cool time. But it's such an honor. I know being a playable character would have been awesome,
Mhm.
but you never know for the future. No, I'm kidding. But like it's one of those things where it's such an honor to be a part of it and be a part of the everyone's here. So it was
Yeah.
a cool experience for us.
Yeah, that's super cool. I remember the first time I popped Shovel Knight as an assist trophy, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. All right, we have a few more questions before we actually get into the meat of the show, I guess. MH Norris via Discord. She said, "I'd love to hear about the different differences between approaching games from a marketing perspective instead of a player perspective, like we're all used to." So you kind of already answered some of this. I don't know if you. I mean, obviously, you are somewhat of a gamer, and like you went. Sorry, Stoy. I know you hate the word gamer, but like going from one side to the other, like how different is it being on the, you know, the quote unquote inside now?
It's one of those things where I see advertisement it's kind of one of those things where you'll see an advertisement, you'll see a trailer, you'll see marketing copy, a booth at PAX, like anything of the sort, and you kind of just start to analyze the messaging behind it. Also, I guess any type of marketing jargon, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I see what you're doing here. But I still think it's really fun. And I feel like I enjoy video games advertisements so much more since I'm on this side of things. It's a really cool process to see it start to finish. And just a tangent a little bit. Yeah, so like I know you hate gamer, I'm just learning about this, but I've been gaming my whole life. And
No, it's just one individual.
It's
It's a
just
trigger
somebody that,
word.
yeah, it's
oh,
just
okay,
somebody
duly
that
noted.
we podcast
Yeah.
with. He just, you know, last night on Crossroads I opened up by saying,
Oh,
hey,
Corey.
hey gamers.
LeRon, why didn't you prep Corey for that?
He
Oh,
I
did,
did
that's why I
prep
did it.
Corey, and
oh,
he did it
oh.
on purpose. I did.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, so back to my tangent. So it's kind of one of those things where, so for example, I've been gaming my entire life. One of my favorite like childhood games is Harvest Moon, and they're doing. I think Marvelous is publishing in Europe the remake of the original Harvest Moon, one of the original Harvest Moon games. I think it's Friends of Mineral Town. It's the one with Celia. My name is Celia, therefore that's the best game. Anyways, and I
Naturally.
saw one of their video advertisements on TikTok, and I commented on there like little hearts, like Celia's best girl, ha ha ha. And their community manager responded to me, and I got so giddy that they responded to me because I love that game. And it's like, I pause for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, I respond to people on TikTok too. So, but it's just so funny to like see behind the closed doors with that magic, but still feel complete about being a part of that like full circle experience. I don't know. It was really cool. I'm really excited about that game.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support. All right, we have one last question here. Edward Varnell, our beloved Ed, writes in and says, "Is finishing a Mega Man game required to work at Yacht Club? If so, just for fun. Which Mega Man game do you think has to be completed?"
Yeah, you get fired if you don't complete all of it. You get locked in this Yacht Club Games dungeon, and you just have to play. No, okay. So it is not required to play Mega Man, but we are exposed to a lot of Mega Man. We have something called Mega May where we stream like a metric shit ton of Mega Man games.
That's
like
awesome.
literally every stream day, it's like, oh, what are we playing? And like the only Mega Man game that I'm into is Battle Network for the Game Boy Advance, which isn't even like close to like a regular Mega Man. The thing is though for me is like with Mega Man in general, my first Mega Man was Mega Man 64. And so I was like, Mega Man sucks. And so that was my experience until I went to the Game Boy Advance. I didn't have that much experience with the original Nintendo, so I didn't get the glorious good stuff. But yeah, definitely have been exposed to it now because of Mega Man. Like literally, I got hired at Yacht Club Games in April, and then like 2 weeks later, I was like into the Mega Man.
Yeah. How? So, a lot of people always say Shovel Knight is inspired by Mega Man. Like, I understand that concept a little bit, but how inspired is Shovel Knight really to Mega Man? Because I see more like DuckTales and stuff like that in Shovel Knight.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like if you took a blender and you put Mega Man in there, and then you put DuckTales in there, and then you put Dark Souls in there, and then you put like literally anything and everything else that like was David and Ian and Sean like, and you just blended it together, that's Shovel Knight. So I wouldn't say like it's 30% this like in a pie chart, but like it's the love of video games as a whole, and like them falling in love with their first pixel that really brought the inspiration there for Shovel Knight.
Oh.
All right, I need you to blink twice if there's going to be a Super Shovel Knight.
Every time someone asks for like some type of sequel, we add another prequel.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Great. No,
You did it to yourself.
I know. I'm just delaying everything. That's fine. Yeah, I'm just really obsessed with Shovel Knight. I actually was like staring at that first, or what is it? I don't know if it's first four figures or whatever, but the giant one that's like this tall. I'm just like, I stare at it every like 3 months. I'm like, we're buying a house soon. Should probably not buy this.
You know, it's funny. So we changed up our PAX East booth, well, PAX in general booth. So you'll see a new booth this year. And we are replacing our Shovel Knight statues with like other merchandise. So I called dibs on the Shovel Knight statues, like
nice.
literally. And I'm searching for room. So I would say never, because, you know, it is an investment purchase, but
yeah,
it's really sick. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting until we buy a house.
Yeah.
And
I think priority. House, Shovel Knight, new, I don't know, whatever else is in life.
Yeah. Kids
Car
are like
Sarah.
fourth. You know, no, I'm just kidding. Either of you have any questions before we move on to what we've really been playing and doing other things?
I don't think I heard. How long have you been with Yacht Club exactly?
So I got hired right before the pandemic started. They hired me. The world shut down, and I was like, "Do I have a job still?" And the answer was yes. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it's been definitely like a wild ride since. I feel like I still think of myself like still new at the company, but it's been 3 years now.
Mhm.
So
And what's one of your favorite perks of being at the company?
we get as much Diet Coke as we want. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
like literally, so I work from home, but I'm going into the office on Friday, and I'm like, Shannon, I'm stealing a case of Diet Coke, and she's like, Celia, like it's fine, like just take it. And I'm like, no, I need to have the rush of that I'm like doing something wrong.
That's
She kills my vibe, man. Okay, so I guess one of my other favorite things of the company is that like everyone, it's such a chill and friendly like environment. Like I'm really close with all my coworkers, and we're all just a bunch of goofs. So like we share
Mhm.
memes and shit posts, and it's a really great time. I feel like I'm not working.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool.
we have that channel in Slack called it's just called quote random, and then we
Nice.
you know put a bunch of random shit in there. Well, all right. Well, let's thank you for sharing. By the way, all of your work adventures. Since you're our esteemed guest, what are you playing? Are you playing anything cool, fun, new?
Not
Mina?
new, but technically new. So, new to me. So I just beat Minish Cap because it's on Nintendo Switch
Yay!
Online. Yeah. I started it when I was a kid because I borrowed it from like one of my friends, and then I had to give it back. How rude of them. So I never beat it. But then it released on Nintendo Switch Online. I was like, yes. So I finally beat it, and I'm really sad because I don't know what to do with my life now. I feel like this empty void. But the Minish Cap is so cute, and I really, really enjoy 2D Zelda games.
Hmm.
And I'm really sad that I don't know if we're ever gonna get that style of game again. Because, you know, they're leaned into the 3D remake of Link's Awakening, which was beautiful, but that pixel art style just really resonates with me. And I just hunger for more of it. Good thing we're making Mina. But anyways, it's one of those things where it's like I just want more.
I'm so
So
glad you said that. I'm also a writer for our website, and well, I also write for another Zelda podcast. Now I'm kind of getting confused with where my articles are going. But I wrote about will we ever see like a true 2D Zelda again? And I didn't want to necessarily be controversial, but as we're all kind of getting older, I'm hearing a lot of people in the community for Zelda, for example, saying Breath of the Wild was my first game and stuff like that, which that's okay.
turn into
Like
dust, as they say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and
I'm
and and
withering away.
and
Yeah.
and so for me, when I had to put Minish Cap on hold, but I started playing it when it came on the Switch. I miss that very charming like if they release something like that again, new game for Zelda or whatever, I'd be in love with that. But I know that a big chunk of Zelda fans now will be like, "Ew, what's this gross crap?" Even my son, who loves Zelda, like said, "This looks old. Play the one where he's on the flying bird." I'm like, "Damn it." So,
Oh no.
yeah, broke my
Like
heart. I'm like,
yay, but no.
My kids haven't hit that part yet. But they're like, so I was actually playing Mario 3 the other day because I was like, well, I haven't played this game in a while. Let's see if my NES controllers for my Switch are charged. So I ripped one off and started playing. And my daughter comes in. She's like, "Is that Mario?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "He looks different." I'm like, "Yeah, he's flat and square." She's like, "Yeah, he's got a lot of squares." I'm like, "You want to play?" She's like, "Yeah." And she fell in a hole. She's like, "I don't want to play anymore."
Oh.
That was that was the extent of the thing. And then she's like, "Play the Disney game." I'm like,
hmm.
"You got me. I guess I'll
What's the Disney game?
Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Oh, nice,
It's
nice.
very big in this household. So when you unlock Anna and Elsa and Olaf in this farming sim, my daughter's very into it. So
See,
Good
I'm
for
trying
her.
to be nice. I am trying to be nice.
hey, LeRon, you should
I'm
give it a
trying to be
try.
nice.
The magic will hit you.
How? Oh, okay, where are the Incredibles at in this?
They're not in it. No,
Well, there you go.
I
Bye
know.
bye.
I know.
For shame.
I know. Woody and Buzz are in it though, but
I
they're
don't care about Woody
they're
and
toy
Buzz.
size and they're very hard to see on the Switch because they're so tiny.
Yeah, I don't care about Woody and Buzz.
Well, my son does. Okay, so uh, anyways, back to your Minish Cap playing. I love Minish Cap.
Me too.
It's great. So I'm actually finishing up Link's Awakening. I was
Mhm.
playing it, and I'm on the 7th dungeon, and then I just stopped playing for whatever reason. I was just like, I'm not just moving on to something else. I think probably a Destiny expansion came out or something.
Mhm.
And then I went back, and I'm playing it again, and I'm like really really into it. I'm actually almost done with it, and I'm very excited to finish it up because I want to play Minish Cap because I played it on the Game Boy Advance. I never finished it, and it's one of like the really sad choices I made about Game Boy Advance was not finishing Minish Cap. So
Mhm.
I think that game is absolutely beautiful, especially on the OLED Switch. It's amazing looking. So, all
Do
right,
I list more games, or is that it?
yeah, you can. Whoever wants to go next, I
Okay.
guess. Stephanie, what are
Me?
you playing? Yes,
Me. Me.
yes.
So I was playing some Minish Cap, and I was playing some Metroid Prime Remaster, and I was playing all that other good stuff. But
A lot of was here, Steph.
well,
What happened?
because I have some deadlines I got to make, and
Mm,
I'll get the short one
right.
over with. But we're recording part 2 of the Hogwarts Legacy book club. So I rolled credits for the main story, and I actually picked it back up tonight because I beat another game that I'm about to talk about, just to kind of get some extra side quests out. And I just passed the 50% mark of like things
Mm,
to do. I'm like, holy
yeah.
crap, 50%!
Hmm.
It's such a big game.
I know that game's huge.
And LeRon's distracting me.
I know LeRon's talking to his friends, his real friends.
Okay. But then, I just get sidetracked because I'm like, "Ooh, pretty unicorn." I capture it and I don't know, and then I capture a bunch of unicorns and feed them and pet them, and then I forget about the side quests.
Yeah.
Still a good game, still fun game. And I'm also playing, thanks to your social skills, Corey, but Chia, that's coming out later on
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus. And
All
I'm
right, yes. Please talk about this game because like I'm 50-50 about whether I really want to play this game or not because when I saw the reveal for it a couple of PlayStation State of Plays ago, I was like, that's kind of cute. I think I'll pass, you know.
Okay, I was actually gonna ask y'all's like, when you see the trailer,
Hmm.
what are words you think of? Like
Wind
cute,
Waker.
Wind Waker, cute, anything else?
I'm Googling the game, so I know what you guys are talking about.
Okay,
Um,
so this is I'll talk about it, but I'll obviously withhold like major spoilers. But overall, the first hour or 2 was very hard for me. I was surprised how challenging it was. Not hard in difficulty, but you start out, you're this girl on this island, and by the way, it's based off of New Caledonia, I believe that's what it is. So it has a lot of inspiration from real life places, real life culture, which I like. Anything that is based off of cultures, especially ones that aren't really represented in gaming, right up my alley. I was so on board with that. It's your birthday, and your father gives you a slingshot, and you're all melancholy for whatever no reason. Um, then your dad gets kidnapped by some guy, and you want to go save your dad. Okay,
Classic.
Sure. So you go, and your dad's friend kind of gives you a ukulele. You learn how to play songs. So again, you're starting to like hear things that are Zelda Wind Waker. Like you also get like a little, not a leaf, but you get like a braided coconut leaf type thing where you can sail on, like a parasail. So you got that. You got a musical instrument. You got a slingshot. You go to, I guess, the king of your country, group of islands, called Mavora. But in order to get an audience with Mavora, you must present an offering or a gift. It is custom. So this is the part where I thought to myself, shit, if this is the game, I'm going to actually really not like this. I'm not digging it at all because these things you need to get are like from way over here on the map and way over there on the map and way over here. And it's like, get a chicken egg. get a this, get a that. And I really struggled. It just seemed like forced exploration, and I just you get a lot of things that you could do, like playing a song, and I'm trying to think of like other random things that you can learn. You can transform or jump into objects or animals. So I was trying to figure out where all these pieces coming together. So, but then once you get all the offerings and you present it to the king, then shit gets real. And my poor son was watching me at this time. The king, the first time you see the king, he looks kind of creepy, kind of almost supernatural. Wonder if he's a real human. You see a bunch of people imprisoned. Then he snaps his finger and eats a baby. So,
Wait, wait,
Hmm.
wait. Excuse me?
Corey, remember when I
I
said
heard eats baby.
he devours a baby? And my son was like, "Mommy?" Hey, speaking of children, my child is here. Someone talk about what I just said for like 2 seconds.
All right, so eating a baby. That's probably. I
I
don't.
love it when cute games get demonic.
Yeah, that's like the scariest. You think
Oh,
Resident Evil and
what
stuff
the
too?
hell?
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
Resident Evil's scary? Like, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm back, sorry. The art style, like obviously you're not going to see the graphicness of like I overheard like a Resident Evil or something, but I'm telling you that shocked me so much. I was like, "Whoa, it's this kind of game now." And that's when everything really started to fit together with your mission objectives, good night. Things you need to do. Like it wasn't just go find this, go find that, go sail for 5 minutes to do that. Like now it really kind of made sense. I By accomplishing certain things, I was able to play songs that would um, summon a bird that you can jump into, so it makes traveling faster instead of sailing, which is like sailing in Wind Waker before the quick sail. I forgot what it's called. um, I didn't use the slingshot as much, but I started to work on enemy camps and figure out creative ways to destroy them. So once the eating of the baby, just like, oh,
Hmm.
this sickly cute art style is very misleading. There's some real dark tones in there that I'm like, oh man, which I won't get into. There's also like a really shocking bit of romance in there, which is one thing that I was surprised in because when I look at the character Chia, she looked like a young, like, girl, like not at the age where I thought that romance was kind of important enough yet, and it threw me off guard because I'm all for a game or a story or a movie that doesn't have romance unless it's an actual part of the storyline.
Mhm.
But anyway, you make friends and then you have to save them throughout the game. You have to destroy like the sources of power for Mavora with the ultimate goal of, defeating him before he kills your family. You learn about your past, which I also won't divulge because that's all spoiler part. That's the part that I love to discover. But like I said, I will say those things that I learned and what happens to certain friends and family later, just all shocking. Like I was astonished of the story took just a hard turn. So yeah, it was great. There's a stamina meter, and the stamina meter actually also is your health. So you don't have a health bar. So if you blow something up and you're still in the ball of fire, you'll see your stamina meter just drop really quickly. So it's pretty forgiving. It's really just that. In the beginning, it was pretty tough, just trying to Paris glide or whatever. But you need to find these stamina fruits that you need to eat to power up. um, Lots of cool things, like you need to carve out totems, and a specific totem design will unlock certain areas where you receive more upgrades. um, yeah, so pretty cool, and the ending was, it was a good ending, and there is definitely post end gameplay that, and so there's that. Overall, it is gorgeous, visually stunning. I took like a million screenshots of like all the sunsets and sunrises. Water mechanics or whatever Stoy really loves. Overall, played well. I know there's a couple glitches in here and there, but the devs are patching that, so that's not a complaint for me at all. Uh, so-
Did you get that? Did you get that email I sent you
yes,
with the patch notes?
yes. So that's good. So that's why, like, I really took that with a grain of salt. So that really wasn't that big of a deal. If anything was kind of a little frustrating for me, is that the movement is very, like, I don't know, like, how do you say, like, lofty and, like, I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
you say it. So, like, what I'm getting at is, towards the end when you're trying to get to the final boss and you get hit by something, you're like a rag doll. That's like the ragdoll physics. You hit something, you like flop and you can't really recover. You're just a rag doll until the animation is done. So there was a point where I literally got hit by something small, but because I got hit by the edge of a mountain, I didn't fall onto the ledge below it. I just fell to the bottom of the mountain and died.
Nice.
So a little bit floaty controls, but like I
Mhm.
said, I'm really nitpicking here because after getting through the first 2 hours, everything came together. It was beautiful visually, the sound and the music is wonderful, and the story, as frightening as it ended up being, great. There's a headless chicken in there.
Mm.
Yeah, and
It's
Nice.
nothing new. Nothing new.
there's some surprising adult, and I use adult in quotes, humor, like a boy saying to Chia, "You gotta hit him where it hurts," and she's looking at him between the legs, like, "You mean like that?" I don't know, like silly stuff like that.
Mhm.
Sorry, that was really long-winded, but like,
Spoilers, it hurts.
yeah. So I don't know if that necessarily convinced you, LeRon, or if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer, like, anybody, but
Um, Generally speaking, I don't know. Like, oh, well, let me ask you this, because you kind of know, like the pedigree, like of gaming that I play and stuff like that. Is the game I should give it like a look? I mean, like, what it is coming to PlayStation Plus, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, is it the game I should give it a look? Because like this PlayStation 5 doesn't have that much hard drive space on it because I'm lazy and haven't bought a SSD yet.
I mean, knowing you, I'm not sure ultimately if you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, game of the year contender." Just knowing you.
Okay, because I've already called my game of the year
Well,
out.
but you know what I mean? Like, I know the kind of games you
I
like
know.
and how they perform and stuff like that. But I think for the sole reason that it is on PS Plus, I do think that it is good enough to try if you have the time to at least get through the first 2 hours. Because I bet you're gonna go through have those same thoughts as me. But now if you go into it knowing that it gets better, I think that
Mhm.
you'll enjoy everything that comes after.
So when you
Okay.
say first 2 hours, does it feel like first 2 hours,
It
or is
it
it?
feels pretty long. Um,
Yeah.
but
Is it
but
like
oh, sorry,
Wind
go ahead.
Waker, Empty Oceans of like
Yes.
going? Okay.
Yes. Yes,
Oh boy.
that's why it was important, because that's why the beginning part was kind of frustrating, but once you get the hang
Mm.
of summoning animals, with your ukulele and improving your duration of when you can spend time in the animal, like, when you can fly as a bird, I can zip to places no problem. You
Mhm.
unlock ports, you can fast travel. There weren't a lot of fast travel, but there's some.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, once you figure that out, it's smooth sailing, no pun intended.
I'll definitely check it out. I
No.
looked it up when you guys were talking about it, and like the art style is really cute. I definitely see the Wind Waker
Mhm.
comparison,
Mhm.
like with like the cutesy kind of style.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I will
That's
say,
awesome.
Lauren, it is beyond what your impression of cute was, which I do feel a majority of people felt that way. That's how I went into the game, but it really stepped up in a positive way, shocking in mostly a positive way. So I ended up going from, "Ooh, I don't know about this. I don't know if it'll keep my attention," to, "That was fantastic. I'm so glad I stuck with it."
Mhm.
Cool.
So
I'm
that's
excited to check it out. Wonder if it'll come to Switch or Xbox.
I hope so. And knowing that it came, this is kind of like my mushy side. I mean, I'm a fan of indie devs and indie made games. Like, knowing the small team that and the amount of hard work and effort that they put into it, I take that into consideration when I write my
Mhm.
reviews.
Yeah.
So knowing the team, well, not personally, and what they put out. They actually put in the credits, they put pictures of the team in like New Caledonia doing research. I
That's cool.
love shit like that. I'm like, you do
That's
the
cool.
research, you put in the hard work, I appreciate it even more.
Yeah. I understand like smaller teams need to choose like a platform that I'm sure it's easier to develop for one platform than it is to do all 3 or 4 or 7 at this point, right? And just choosing the lead one would be like, oh, great, then we can worry about porting it afterwards, right? Um, but I did see Sea of Stars today announce they were making an Xbox version, which made me happy because
Nice.
I mean a lot of indie games skip Xbox, you know.
Yeah. I do like when I think of Chia as a new a day one release on PS Plus.
Mhm,
I think it's a good choice. I know Stray was the big one last year, and I know that was like, oh my god, well, because it's a cat game, which is fine. Like, you know how obsessed I was with that, but I think
mhm,
Chia was a nice choice. I hope it gives it the visibility it deserves because it's on PS Plus. I
mhm,
do feel, yeah, Xbox, maybe Game Pass. I think that's great. I also think it would be a fantastic Switch game,
mhm,
especially if they could partner with someone, and it doesn't have to be as big of a name as Limited Run, but maybe Super Rare or I am 8-bit. Like, I hope they do some sort of partnership with that because there's a lot of things that you could license out, the music. Just
mhm,
there's a lot of potential there.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably check it out. I don't really play my PlayStation that much, but I will probably turn it on to check it out. And if I enjoy what I play, I mean, if it's really good, I'll just play it on PlayStation. But if it's something that I really enjoy, I'll probably, and they announce like a Switch version or an Xbox version, I'll probably get it there.
Listen, they created a action that when you're a bird, you can poop. All right, that should be reason enough to play it.
Mm. Man, taking some cues from like Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption 2,
It's
right?
like,
I mean,
sorry, because I'm a child.
uh,
Anyway, so that's Chia. So thank you for letting me talk that out. I know a lot of my what I've been playing. I don't usually go on this long, but it's an honor to
yeah,
be
but
able
this
to.
is new and exciting.
Well, yeah, it's new and
Yeah.
exciting. I had the honor of playing it before release. I'm looking forward to writing out the review. I think the fact that I had so much to say about it proves that it is a good quality game. Instead of being like, yeah, it's a platformer, it does the same shit, whatever.
Yeah, I'll clip that out and send it to Jenny because she asked if we were enjoying it. So
Jenny, I love Chia. She's my girl.
she's coming on in a couple weeks. Very excited.
Yay! Okay. What's the
Uh,
next?
LeRon, what are you playing?
Well, believe it or not, I finally rolled credits on Dead Space.
Hmm, about time.
Finally!
Yes, yeah, and it was worth the ride. I think everybody realizes by now. I took my time playing the game, but that's because like I really want to enjoy the story, but
Mhm,
also like the Ishimura traumatizes me. So
mhm.
yeah, there was definitely a situation where I was like like all the creeps and all that stuff that I experienced playing the game originally. Stephanie, I've told you this before. Like the Dead Space, the original Dead Space game has always like kind of terrified me in a way that like a lot of games don't usually do. Um, Honestly, I can't remember being the Callisto Protocol creeped me out, but Dead Space actually made me afraid to like actually go into rooms and open new places up, especially because like like there is no such thing in Dead Space remake anymore of clearing a room and not having to worry about shit again. Like now,
Mm,
like because you backtrack, you run into the rooms and stuff like that, something will jump out at you again, even though you cleared it and there's already bodies strewn all over the place of stuff that you just decimated.
I feel like it makes
So
people a paranoid mess. Like, oh my gosh, are they really dead?
well, it
Like,
does. It does. Well, there's a few things because I like if anyone paid attention to like all the dev diaries that Motive did for it and stuff like that active listening system, like that thing was actually really fun, but also like it really played with my emotions because because you'll enter a room and you'll start hearing Isaac's heart rate like pick up and stuff like that.
oof.
And usually that's your indicator that something's going on because like basically it's like like sometimes when you get into a situation and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, it's kind of like that. But what I didn't realize is, and I told you guys this in our group text chat that one night I was playing it and I was already amped up, but I was trying to move from point to point as fast as possible because I was like backtracking and trying to unlock like the last bit of stuff for all the weapons and stuff. So I was running, and every time I would stop to open a door and stuff, like his heartbeat was just going, and I'm like, man, like what the hell is coming my way and stuff like that. So I stopped for I stopped for a second because I needed to check my phone for a text. So I didn't pause or anything. I just like put the controller down for a moment, check the text, and I didn't realize it, but his heart rate had gone back down. And I started running again, and it went back up, and then it clicked. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm running, he's getting his cardio in, his heart rate's going up, and he can hear it in his ears. So then it made me paranoid because now I'm like, I don't know what to trust. Like I want to get back and forth as quickly as possible, but like I'm freaking myself out because he's getting freaked out and he's getting his workout at the same time, you know. So it was stuff like that. I definitely liked the plot twists that they took with the story, because like they explained they did a lot more for fleshing out the story in this game than the original game could have done, because like I think the best thing they could have done was give Isaac Clarke his voice, like because everybody's played Dead Space 2 and 3, knows what the man sounds like and stuff like that. So like them having Gunnar Wright return for his role as Isaac and actually letting him talk, through scenarios and situations and stuff like that. That was a cool thing, and it actually helped with as you got later into chapters 11 and 12, the last two chapters of the game. Things starting to like solidify with the story and stuff like that. So like, yeah, so there was the expected stuff from people who've already played Dead Space, but at the same time, there's new stuff, and it was wonderful to pick up on. And I actually had some friends watching me beat the game, like doing the final boss and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh,
Aw.
whoa, this is cracked out."
Nice.
Yeah, so I beat it. I unlocked New Game Plus, and I'll probably start playing my second run through, because the second run is where you actually see the alternate ending for the game and stuff like that. And that ending also helps set up like the events for Dead Space 2, which I think they're going to remake that game. I think they are.
That seems like a no-brainer at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was rated number 2 for the month of January in sales.
What was number 1?
I don't know.
All right. Anyway.
Remember. Yeah.
Maybe don't look it up. It might be something silly like Pokemon. Anyway.
Yeah. So, which by the way, we gotta get ready to like redo our draft.
I know. I was looking at that recently.
Yeah, because we got WWE 2K23 coming out this week. We've also got what else? Come on, Corey, you helped me say some of this stuff last night.
Man,
Valheim's coming. The Half-Life M mod is coming. There's stuff coming out. I guarantee you.
I haven't been keeping up because we're trying to put together a new podcast and rework some of the other content, and I've just been nose down in that and trying to finish Hogwarts Legacy before book club on Friday. So
yeah, I also guarantee you like Dead Cells Return to Castlevania probably scored pretty high on Metacritic.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Yeah, so there's that. But since beating Dead Space over the weekend, the only other things I've been messing around with is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Metroid Fusion, and the Minish Cap. Like, cause man, like I'm telling you, the Game Boy Advance emulator the Game Boy Advance on Nintendo Switch Online was the best thing that could have happened to me for my Nintendo Switch, because it's portable gaming squared basically. Mm-hmm. Oh, and also. I beat the brakes off my boyfriend in the Game Boy Tetris over the weekend. We went head to head, and I destroyed him.
Tetris, it's the best game ever made.
Well, just a funny thing about it, right? Because my boyfriend, he never played the old school Tetris from NES and the Game Boy days. He's always played the newer iterations of Tetris, where you can bank pieces and you have fast drops and all this stuff. So so like I was destroying him because like I was playing on that old school Nintendo strategy where it's like because
you play the pieces you have, man. No banking.
Exactly, and he was getting frustrated because like I was playing on handheld and Switch, and he was playing on TV. So every now and then I'd look up and see what his progress is. So I was already cheating, but but the funny part is that because he plays the new school way of Tetris, He didn't realize that like what you have to do is keep your middle clear, because when those lines start filling up, when your opponent
Yeah.
starts throwing them to you, if you have a long block coming, you're fucked.
Yep.
You're fucked
Mhm.
if you've got stuff stacked in the center. So he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Okay, I waited until we were going to bed before I told him. I was like, "Hey, okay, so this is what I learned. Like when you're playing Tetris, you need to keep your middle clear." I was like, all that stuff you heard me dropping and stuff, I was dropping them on the sides and keeping at least the middle clear 6 wide.
Dude, I learned so much right now. I didn't even know that there was a strategy to Tetris. No
There's a
wonder I
strategy
suck.
for Tetris.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
a lot of
yeah.
people play Tetris 99, or you're playing Tetris Effects, or some of the newer, or some of the more original Tetris games have come out. Which, by the way, I can't wait for the Tetris movie. I can't wait.
That movie looks so weird and cool at the
I,
same time. I can't tell if
I
it's
said
supposed
it
to be
last night.
like I know like the trailer's like super intense, but the way Taron Egerton is playing that character, I can't tell if it's supposed to be like funny also, you know?
It has
Like
to be.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, okay, you're extracting a video game from, Soviet Russia. That's scary, but also like he's playing the character so over the top. I'm like, is this going to be a comedy or something? And then like they show that like
yeah.
that car crash, and then the car in front of them blows up into Tetris pieces. It's like there has to be some comedy in this, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I told you guys last night on Crossroads, like we need that Nintendo back. We need where's that Nintendo in this day and age? Because like them guys like expatriating somebody from Russia just to
Yeah,
print a game.
yeah,
Come on, guys! Like
yeah,
imagine what Nintendo would do with that type of gumption these days. And I'm saying gumption because like I don't think Nintendo will ever have the balls.
yeah. I asked my wife if she was going to watch that movie with me. She just looked at me like,
You were fucked up, man. You were
I
fucked
know.
up.
I was like, "You gonna watch this with me?" She's like, she just gave me that eye, like, it's late. I'm going to bed. It's good times.
She's gonna surprise you with a third child.
It's not mine.
No, it'll be yours. It'll be yours. Like she's gonna spike your drink.
Oh gosh, I'd cry a little.
Hey, you can't joke with Ukrainians about Russian stuff. You can't.
I know, it's fine.
And what? She's Ukrainian and Jewish. Come on, man.
Mhm.
You knew better. You knew better.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah. So that's
I
everything
I
I'm
chose
doing.
this life. This is the life I lead now.
Mm-hmm.
You should.
Oh, and also SF Duel on mobile. Like I accidentally got hooked into it, and look, and like it's a transaction heavy game, but I have not spent a single penny in the game yet.
Nice.
I mean, that's good. Don't do it, LeRon. Remember what
I'm
happened
not-
the
I'm
last
not.
time. Remember what happened the last time.
Yeah, like well, I'm also getting tired of mobile servers coming down, so I'm like, no, you're not getting any more of my money.
So that's why they go down, because you don't give them any money. LeRon. They don't have any money to keep the servers online.
Hey, they're gonna look for another fiend for that then.
That's fair. All right. Well, I'll just. I already said I was playing Link's Awakening. It's very good. I love that game so much. As a true remake to the first Zelda experience I ever had, it reminds me of all the good times I had when I was younger, and also side tangent. Never beat Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, so I'm also going to try to do that.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
No, here's the thing. I put so much time into Link's Awakening, but I was so young that I didn't understand what Zelda was, so I would just walk around and just kill guys with the sword, and then I would be like, "Oh, let's go play the weird Mario game where you go to Egypt and jump on bombs." And then so that's I want to play all the portable Zelda games. Because Oracle of Seasons and Ages are also amazing.
I really hope they're coming.
Yeah, they're coming.
No, they are. They hinted it, not hinted it. They like flashed it for
Wait,
like a second in the last direct.
Yeah,
they also
don't
showed
recall.
Golden Sun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
that is one I'm waiting for. I cannot
oh my
wait
gosh,
for that one.
all 15 people are gonna just shit their pants
15.
when
How
Golden's.
how dare you? There's 20.
Servers,
Okay.
servers are going to go down. How fast we were trying to download that game.
Yeah, there are dozens of Golden Sun fans. How
Nintendo's
dare you?
Nintendo's like, we short printed the ROMs. We can't allow any more downloads. Oh, Nintendo, we love you and then we hate you, all in the same go around. But we still.
Except for me, I love Nintendo always. If Nintendo ever listens,
No, no.
always and forever.
Don't get LeRon started.
Nintendo and I have a toxic relationship.
You guys ever hear that story where Miyamoto went and when they were developing Star Fox, it was the first time they had an outside team work in the Nintendo building, and they stuffed them in the closet where Miyamoto smokes, and like
What?
yeah, and like they were working and they all had like headphones on or whatever, and they just hear like the click of a lighter and they turn around, it's just Miyamoto smoking in the dark, and they're like,
No
yeah,
way.
yeah. Telling you, this was in like the early '90s though. Like,
I hope he stopped smoking.
oh, I'm sure he did. You know, I mean, I don't know. Not that I know Miyamoto personally, guys. You know, we're buds. He lets me call him Yo Yo. That was a bad joke. We're moving on. I'm also playing.
Yes. Please move.
I'm also trying to finish Super Mario 3D World because that's another game where I am literally on the last 3 levels of the last bonus stage, and I just stopped playing. I don't know what it is with me in games and just stop playing. But I also did the exotic mission in Destiny to get the Vexclave, so that was exciting.
Exotic mission.
Yeah, it was super cool. It's
Nice.
the whole mission takes place in like this computer system, and it kind of looks like the Matrix mixed with like Tron a little bit.
Okay.
So it was super cool, but I won't bore our audience with another Destiny story because there's a
You're
podcast
fine,
for
dude.
that.
You're fine.
There's a whole podcast for that, LeRon. Don't need it here.
I know there is. I listen to you guys sometimes.
Yeah, you're still trying to steal our idea for Hunters for Hire. Was that the whole thing? Still.
I had Hunters for Hire before you guys ever had the Javelins for Hire stuff.
Ooh, shots fired.
No,
I'm for
I'm talking about the Destiny stuff. Not the Anthem stuff.
Oh yeah, man. Don't you know? Like, hey, imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery.
It's true. All right, let's get into our top. Man, this went longer than I expected. Our first topic. I actually like this topic number 3 the best. Which genre of gaming is the one genre to rule them all?
Yes, that's my topic. That's my topic.
I guess it depends on what platform you're on. Sony, it would be the third-person action adventure.
Xbox is what? First-person shooter?
First-person shooters.
And no, Xbox is acquisitions and then not putting games out.
Oh, by the way, is Starfield officially delayed again? Is that rumor true? Is that rumor true?
September.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We're not getting that game in 2023. It's coming out in 2024.
No,
it's going to be a January 2024 release. Microsoft want to start their year off with a bang because they're ending this. They're going to end this year with a whimper.
Listen, sir, you're talking to the wrong person about Bethesda games here. So, because I couldn't care less about Starfield.
They're not. It's not even Bethesda games anymore. It's Microsoft games now. So I know. And I run a show where we talk about Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So I can talk this smack right now.
I know, but the exciting thing was, Melina Juergens, the actress who plays Senua, tweeted out she's back in the booth doing pickup work for Hellblade.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And a lot of people are pointing at Hellblade coming out this year as well, which
that dropped off a chasm too. What's going on?
I mean, Ninja Theory is a small team though, and they have 2 projects in the works. So, I mean, the original Hellblade team was only like 20 people. So
I don't know. When I think Nintendo, my knee-jerk reaction is platformer. But to be honest with you, I feel like everything, well, not everything, a lot of things are Metroidvanias. I feel like I hear Metroidvania the most. Not that I'm
Mhm.
complaining because I like Metroidvanias, but I feel like Metroidvania.
Mhm.
I don't think Metroidvania is like winning the war though in the gaming
Oh
sphere.
yeah, who's that? LeRon.
Um, honestly, I feel like the looter shooters are what's doing it. I
Are you
really feel like
are
that.
you
Ugh,
sure?
gross.
There aren't
I
Gross.
even
feel like
there aren't even that
I feel like
many.
the looter shooters and the community games like Fortnite, Apex
Mhm.
Legends and all that stuff. I Warzone and PUBG.
Okay, if
And
you're
Well, those
talking
are
CS:GO, right?
battle royales, though. Those
if you're
aren't
Battle
looter
talking
Royales.
shooters.
Okay, my bad.
if you're talking strictly numbers, maybe, but looter shooters are sorry.
I mean,
Well, I mean it.
there's only
I
really
mean,
two like major ones right now, and that's Destiny and maybe the Division.
and Monster Hunter.
That's not a shooter though.
It's not a shooter, but it's a looter game.
Is it? I
Yeah.
didn't think
Yeah,
of it as
no,
a
no.
looter game.
Well, no. I actually Monster Hunter has this weird. If you ever see the Venn diagram, like basically like Monster Hunter's kind of in the middle because like a lot of these other like gamer archetypes like kind of flock to it when their game is not doing so well. Like Destiny, for example.
Um,
Like Destiny had a big drought, and all of a sudden, like Monster Hunter World had this big explosion of like new gamers and stuff. And I'm like, who are all these noobs? And then like I actually ran with a few of these guys, and they're like, y'all know what the fuck y'all doing. I like this. Let's go.
Well, that's because Destiny 2 at
And,
launch was interesting, we'll say.
and it's funny too because like some random gamer, some random gunner in Monster Hunter just doing their thing. The first thing like, hey, you play Destiny, don't you? It's they're either using guns, they're using lances. It was
Mhm.
so hilarious.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, when I think of Nintendo, I just kind of think of I don't think of a genre. I just think of their characters. I just feel like
mhm.
they're always trying to change things, or like they've really separated their IP into specific genres. Like they have their JRPGs with Xenoblade, they have their strategy RPGs with Fire Emblem, they have their platformer with Mario, and they have their adventure game with Zelda and Metroidvania with Metroid. And I mean, I think they've really done a good job separating
Let
themselves.
me ask this question: is it just me, or is platformers like taking a dive?
I think so. I think platformers were much larger, a
I,
decade or two
I mean, the
ago.
indie scene kind of keeps platformers going, but like like platformers from like in-house places like the last Sony platformer we saw was Ratchet and Clank. I can't even name a freaking platformer from Xbox. Has Microsoft done anything recently?
Yeah. I mean,
N-
Hi-Fi Rush is kind of a platformer
Is that
ish.
okay? All right,
I mean,
and Nintendo.
when I think platformer, I go N64 first. You got Mario 64. You got all the ones you don't really see that much, like the what the
Tonic Trouble,
Tonic Trouble. I'm pointing at my Nintendo Power. What's another one? A
Mischief Makers,
Buck
Banjo
Bumble.
Kazooie.
Oh
Oh
wow,
my
Mischief
god.
Makers. Oh man.
A Buck Bumble reference. That
Yeah,
Yeah,
soundtrack is an absolute banger.
it is.
I
Lover.
ironically slash unironically listened to its tracks. Yeah, no, okay, well, platformers are kind of broken up into 2D and 3D. 3D,
Yeah.
unfortunately, has been pretty dead for a little bit. I want more 3D platformers because I'm a Nintendo 64 kid. And I
Yeah.
love Banjo Kazooie. Like I have like my
Actually,
Banjo
actually, shit. Now
Kazooie
I'm thinking about it,
shrine.
Nice.
the Astrobot game, like that was a damn good platformer. The one for PS5.
Hmm. Yeah.
So okay, so just to make sure I'm following this conversation, so you're saying what genre rules each platform that
Well, not
defines
no,
it?
that's no. Just what seems like to be the most popular genre of gaming right now. That's really what it's
The
all about.
genre
Like,
that rules them all.
it sure as hell ain't it sure as hell ain't the Soulsborne games. It sure as hell ain't the roguelites. Even though the roguelites want to say they want to rule them all, it sure as hell ain't them.
Um,
Um, I think shooters are in a weird place because I remember like you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a shooter, and now it's like there's only a handful that you can pick from.
well,
What else?
since you mentioned or Corey kind of clarified battle royales, again, if we're talking strictly numbers, than
Mhm.
technically battle royales, and I hate saying that because
Yeah.
I just threw up in my mouth because I hate those. I have like a strong rage against stuff like Fortnite, but if you like look at the numbers, they're kind of, you know,
70. I think you could probably jump into Overwatch or even
no,
Apex Legends and
no,
probably.
over my dead body, over my dead
I just
body.
bought I just bought the Aloy skin in Fortnite
Of course you
In
did.
Fortnite,
Of
a
course
week
you
or
did.
two ago. I did.
just wowing your nephew one more time.
I know. He's so excited every time I show him something. It's so fun. Because he's like, I mean, he's 10, so he doesn't have anything cool. He just plays the game. And I'm like, haha, I don't play the game, but I have all these cool things.
Now based on your personal preference, what would you say is your one genre that rules them all?
Me?
Yeah, and then what? Yeah, well, all of you
Oh,
guys, and then
I mean,
we can wrap
I
this
was,
topic up.
I was just gonna say, like, the third person action adventure game sure seems to be getting a lot of love these
No,
days.
no, no. Your personal preference. So,
Oh,
of all the games you play, what would you say would be it?
I mean, I think what I want to say is one thing, but looking at all the games that I've played, put the most amount of time in recently, right? Like, you got Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, Zelda. Uh, I feel like uh,
So it is. It is.
it's
It
the
is.
third
It is the
person
same.
action adventure kind of almost
Yeah.
open world game, even though like I went forever saying, man, open worlds. I'm not into open worlds. I just want that linear game.
Mm.
Horizon, right? Like those are the games that I really love now, and it's like, oh, I guess I do like open world games. And then when I went to play when I played God of War, I was like, man, this game is awfully linear. This game has like, man, you're certainly going from point A to point B with little to no exploration whatsoever.
Hmm. I mean, mine's similar, except mine's not necessarily has to be open world, but if I look at my track record, it's mostly that 3D action adventure. Because
Mm.
Zelda is considered an action adventure. I guess it doesn't have to be 3D with Zelda, but then you've got Red Dead 2, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, a lot of Sony titles, um,
Mhm.
Hogwarts
Nothing wrong with
Legacy.
that.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Celia, what do you say?
It's tough because I have like my top three genres. So like action adventure, like 2D or 3D, like I will eat that shit up. I love that. I like logic visual novels. They
mm,
also count as shooters, by the way. Like Danganronpa,
Oh
since
my
you're point and
gosh,
clicking, it counts as
Oh
a shooter.
man,
Yeah, oh, but
Monokuma is
I've
scary.
religiously played all of those games in their franchise. I'm really excited for the next Spike Chunsoft game, but that's another story. So I
nice.
really like that. And then I also really like any type of like tactical JRPG, like in
see,
general.
that's what I
Ooh.
was getting ready. That's what I was about to land on myself.
Mhm.
I feel like the tactical RPGs, because like they're making a comeback and it's crazy.
Mhm.
Like I can only think of maybe one or two that just did not live up to expectations. But like the tactical RPGs are coming back, and I'm here for it. Like I just did the artwork for last night's Crossroads, and the artwork features Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions.
Mhm.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's just one of those things. Like I will sink a massive amount of time into a tactical RPG. Won't be as much time as I sink into Monster Hunter, but it will rival it.
You know what game I
Yeah,
think you would like,
just
LeRon?
What's
Speaking
that?
of tactical RPGs, have you ever played Valkyria Chronicles?
Yes, yes. I loved it, and I even imported like the Japan only ones, like
Mhm.
3 and 4 before actually three never
I think
got translated.
I think 2 came to PSP here, and
Yeah,
then 3 never got localized. And the only
yeah.
ones
Well,
you could
no,
play on
three.
modern platforms are 1 and 4, which is crazy.
Yeah, three never got localized officially, but I have a patch version of three.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love them. I love the strategy and like those types of games, stuff like that. I can't really say Bravely Default or what's the other one? What's the one
Octopath?
Octopath?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not really my cup of tea for the most part, but like Deofield Chronicles that just came out not too long, well, last year. Um, uh, uh, Triangle Strategy, like man, like keep it coming. Like give me
mhm.
my Tactics remake too. Oh, Tactics Over Reborn. Shoot, like yeah, like
Man, Tactics Ogre is so good.
I know we're
Tactics
kind
Yeah,
of
like
like wrapping
we're
up
eating
on
good
this.
right now.
I know we're kind of
Mhm.
wrapping up on this, but I also want to make it like an asterisk. Like, I feel that my genre to rule them all has changed with age. I do felt like my
Oh yeah,
tastes
oh
are
yeah,
different,
definitely.
which is a little sad because Celia, you just like brought me back. Like, I was a huge Harvest Moon 64 fan. Like, I just
Yeah.
ate that shit up. But can I really be bothered with like the 56th iteration of a Harvest Moon? I don't really think so.
You don't have to because the same studio doesn't make it anymore, so you don't have to.
True, true.
Um,
And also, like when I was younger, I had more time, so I got into in-depth RPGs, like a Final Fantasy type RPG. But just, or like, I'm sure Xenoblade would have been up my alley back then, but now I can't handle the game. I can't handle the genre. So,
I really do feel that, but like, I want to agree with you, but like at the same time, like I did a run of Persona 5 a little while ago, but it was a basically min maxing all
oh,
social challenge links 100%ed run, and I sunk 120 hours into that game, and I've already rebeaten it a few times. So I want to be like, yeah,
wow.
Oh
me
man.
too, but then I'm like, oh yeah, me too.
Oh man. Yeah, I used to play a lot of JRPGs, and then I just stopped for some reason. And like now I just when I every time I go to play one that I think looks interesting, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really into this anymore, you know? Just
I
like,
feel like it's like a Venn diagram of your life. Like, there's like sleep, social life, work. And it's like,
mhm.
Yeah.
what do you have to
Mhm.
sacrifice to do anything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah. That is true. That is man. Social life, what's that?
we all got all sad because we're like,
Yeah.
we're old and tired.
Oh man, don't remind me. Yeah, so do we want to hit our last topic real quick? Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about the rise of indie games over the last decade or so, maybe a little bit longer than that now, right? I mean, I I kind of the types of games I kind of miss, right? Or like that single A or double A experience of like, some studios are still doing it like THQ Nordic is Darksiders and Kingdoms of Amalur and games like that are kind of like these maybe they're not the biggest AAA experience, but they're also like quote unquote more than an indie game, right? Like they're just kind of serving a purpose. And I think when indie games kind of started blowing up, that genre or that category of game just kind of went away. And I think it's because indie games have become so good on all levels, right? Whether you're downloading like an itch.io something all the way up to like I don't know, like Hyper Light Breaker, for example, they just
Mhm.
shut off their trailer, and there's just so much there that it's like, is there even room for that double A space anymore? And I think as indie games start to evolve and you start seeing different genres and them approaching that kind of almost occupying that double A space, like indie games are really taking over, and it's either you're gonna have this indie title that has a budget of X amount of dollars, or you're gonna spend $100 million or more on this AAA experience, right? I mean, am I the only one that's seeing that happen? I feel like I started seeing that during the Xbox Live Arcade days of like Braid, and then obviously PlayStation had Journey and games like that, and now like I feel like honestly half joking, but really half not. And maybe this is just where I started noticing it, but like I feel like it's Shovel Knight's fault. Where like Shovel Knight was so good, right? And that was like, not that I didn't play any games before that, but I mean, Castle Crashers was like, that first wave was like Castle Crashers, Braid, Super Stardust, maybe throw that in there. Some Housemarque's early games, but like Shovel Knight was like the first indie game. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was the first one I was like really enthralled with, and maybe that's just where I began to see it, but I don't know.
so So to touch on your topics, okay, so my first indie game was Cave Story in 2008.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
I remember trying to figure out what it was. Okay, when I say what it was, like I figured out platformer, blah blah.
Mm.
But I had never realized that a smaller creator could make a video game before. I always thought it was like studios didn't really like, I guess, like hit me yet. I was young, so it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, it's from Nintendo. Nintendo made it, not blankety blank
Yeah,
studio.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to wrap my head around it because that was also the first game that I ever played on a computer. Rather than like the point and click like random adventures I had or like browser based games. So it was like a very interesting experience for me, being like, why is it on my Nintendo? Like, why not? But in general, just to kind of like how you said that like indie is bleeding into like the AA space that was before. I think it's important that it is, and to acknowledge that it is. And it might be a part of our fault too, but whatever. Because indie as a title is so flippin' broad. I think that the gaming industry has outgrown it. And
Mm-mm.
reason for
Mm.
that is you look at the Game Awards, okay? And the Game Awards categories, it can be a solo developer, that got super huge popularity against a studio. Because, like, didn't Stray qualify as an indie game, but even though
Mm-hmm.
it was published by,
Yeah.
like, a larger studio?
Mm-hmm.
That,
Yeah.
that shouldn't, a one person developer and a studio, with publishing background, it shouldn't be in the same category.
Right.
Like, I just feel like indie is too broad. And like, for example, like us, sure, we're a small team and we started, but we're, we pushed out a bunch of games. We have DLC coming out for 2 different titles, and we have a secret internal project, wink, and we also have Mina coming out. And it's like one of those things where, like, we have multi teams working on stuff, and it's like, to keep us in the category with a person who's making his first game and he releases on itch.io, and like it's a really exciting deal for them. It just doesn't make sense to me because the playing field, I feel like, is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to evolve into the indie AA title, or normalize it, or
Yeah.
categorize it differently. And as things grow progressively, I think it'll just make things like a more open space for incoming developers and more seasoned ones.
Yeah. I heard this term a long time ago. I still don't know if I like it or not. Triple I for like bigger indie games. I
I
don't.
hate that.
Triple
I know.
I.
I don't.
I've never even heard of that before.
Yeah. I don't know if I like it or not. I just heard
I
it.
don't like it.
I heard it
Try
on.
again.
I
No,
heard it on a
whoever
podcast at
wrote
one
that.
point, but like it was like this group's way of distinguishing, like, something like, something like Ukulele, right? Where, I mean, obviously Platonic's not like a huge team, but they're a decent sized indie team, and then Team 17 picks them up to publish the game, right? Or someone like Chucklefish who specializes in publishing games, and I mean even Yacht Club published Cyber Shadow, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you have stuff like that. It's just I don't know where that line is anymore. I think we can just all say like, oh man, these are all just games now. But like then you have the big publishers that are just like the AAA experiences. But I mean, you look at someone like Bungie, who was technically independent until last year, right? I mean, Destiny was technically an independent game. After
You
they
know, it's
left.
also one Minecraft.
I know,
Minecraft counts as an indie game. Well,
right?
not anymore.
Not
It's
anymore.
owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
true.
But that's insane to look back
yeah,
at that history and acknowledge that. It's like, whoa,
hmm
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's wild. It's interesting. We need new names, new terminologies starting
right.
now, but not AAA.
Hmm.
None of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The more people keep saying it, now I don't like it. It's that thing. When you start saying things and they just start sounding weird because you say them too much. It's getting to that point. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've really probably over the last, I would say like the last 5 months or so, I'm really trying to get into more indie games. Like I played Death's Door last year, which was super incredible. Uh, and then I tried to play Tunic right after, which was a terrible decision because they look similar, but they are not similar. Uh, but I want to show these studios my appreciation for their work because I mean Microsoft is Microsoft. You can buy all the games you want or all the Game Pass, whatever, right? Did I freeze?
No,
No.
you're there.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
All right. My screen froze for like 5 seconds. All right. But like, I don't need to buy Halo for them to be like, oh, we're Microsoft and we're gonna make billions of dollars every year, right? But like, I mean, like for example, when Hyperlight Breaker or when Mina comes out, like, yeah, not gonna lie, I'll probably buy Mina 2 or 3 times just to like support the game because Yacht Club is awesome. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'm just saying that because like Yacht Club and Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight, I think, means a lot to me too, is because when I started doing, actually really getting deep into podcasts and covering Nintendo and stuff a long time ago, Shovel Knight was like one of the first, I don't want to say first major games we covered, but like it was the first one that really kind of mattered to us because I mean, we were covering the Wii U at the time, and that, when you start a podcast, the Wii U is not exactly a great jumping off point, uh, but Shovel Knight I think it was just the right place at the right time for me anyway. And, I started exploring like N Plus and Hyperlight Drifter and Axiom Verge, and you start moving up there. And then, you hear that Playtonic's making a game like Banjo-Kazooie, so you want to check that out. And now, just podcasting with LeRon and Stephanie, I've experimented with quite a few games that I don't think I would have ever played. And I think the indie space is important. And, just to kind of wrap it up, I guess, I think people dream about making games, right? That's what they want to do with their life, whether they're on a 5-man team or, I mean, you look at, even look at something like Cuphead, right? That was 4 people plus some outsourcing, Were you going to say
It was
something?
10. It was a team of 10. I went to their launch party. It was a team of 10, and they're insanely talented individuals. And it's so wild where Cuphead is now. Sorry,
Yeah.
I love their studio.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they always seem like really cool people on interviews and stuff. But yeah, it's just, I don't really I don't really know where to go from this. I was just saying, like, I really want to show studios appreciation for what they love to do, because you look at the Microsoft Activision stuff, and I don't really want to talk about that, but you just like, man, there's so much just garbage billionaires yelling at billionaires, and it's like, man, there's a team over here in the corner working on something probably pretty cool that like probably isn't making any money doing this, but they're doing it because they love it and they hoping they're going to hit big on something,
Yeah, like one thing, just a tag team. I know we're trying to end this conversation, but I'm jumping in with more stuff. But when looking at that, like India is where innovation begins.
Yep.
And we have that room because there's a lot of like, okay, so video games in general are an art, but they're also entertainment, like kind of machine. And like with a lot of AAA, there's a lot of passion behind it. But because of the marketing machine and the business behind it and the stakeholders and everything that's just funneled into it for them to be able to make that, sometimes a lot of studios can't take risks. So that's why we get the Call of Duty 24 or like whatever number they're on. And it's, it's great, you don't fix the machine if it's not broken, but certain things will be baby steps rather than giant leaps. And one ability from the indies is that we are able to take those risks, and it's a lot of passionate people just throwing their all in a game, and the people deciding, what goes into the game are the creators themselves, since they are small and they have that freedom. So I agree with you. It's definitely important to support them. And like, of course I'm saying it. Yeah, everyone buy Shovel Knight and Mina. All of it. But like in general, it isn't so important to support indie because that is where the creation starts. And once that studio gets bigger, then they can do larger things and more in-depth things. And that's why personally, whenever I see a physical indie game that I was considering to buy digitally, I buy physical. Because it supports the studio. It shows sales metrics of physicals do matter because they are expensive and they are time consuming, and people don't realize how much goes into that planning. Oh my gosh, it's a schlep. So sorry, I'm going to go into a rant, but supporting indie is so important. So I love that.
No, I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to hear that. It makes me feel less guilty about whenever I go out of my way to buy physical copies. I mean, I've toned it down more and I'm more selective, but if it's an indie game,
Mhm.
I'm all for it. Like I'm looking up at my super rare copy of what is it? I need glasses, guys. Aerial Knights Never Yield. I think that was on like a
Mhm,
Nintendo Indie Direct a few years ago, and I'm like, physical, let's go.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People comment like, "Oh, when's the physical coming?" It's like I don't think you understand what sales metric and
Mhm.
the supply chain that you need to go through to be able to make sure a physical copy like goes into retailers' hands. Like it is, there's so much that goes into it. So bless. Yeah, when I saw Omari at last PAX, I was like, "Oh, buying a physical now." I
Yeah.
was gonna buy the digital. I should buy the digital too to support, but definitely bought the physical too.
Uh, One last question on this before we kind of get out of here. I know Yacht Club was obviously fortunate enough to have a mega hit with Shovel Knight, and that was able to put the company in a position to do newer and interesting things, right? With Shovel Knight Dig, and obviously take on publishing for Cyber Shadow and stuff. But just in the space that you work in, do you see like smaller indie developers struggle? Because I remember the one that always sticks out to me is the man, I forget the name of the developer, Castle something. The developers of Blossom Tale.
Oh,
You look at like you look at them, and they were struggling to sell copies on Steam to where the point they were going to have to shut the studio down, and they released it on Switch and sold. They sold enough to keep the studio open and release a sequel. Now I don't know how well Blossom Tale 2 is done, but I mean, do you see stories like that where like people like some indie studios just want to get the game out to see what happens, or because you say that Yacht Club has the freedom to do things, right, or push release dates, or that kind of thing. But do you think some indie studios that don't have the freedom to do that, do you think that they might struggle to get a game out or push things?
Everyone struggles to get a game out. Just a heads up, like in the
Mm.
video game industry, like even if you have a lot of
Yeah.
money, it's like um, but in general, yeah, it just depends what their development journey is.
Hmm.
It's with creating video games are an art,
Hmm.
and the starving artist is a real definite thing, especially in the video game space as well. And it's really unfortunate,
you hear that,
and
Stoy? Video games are art. Sorry.
they are. Um, but that's like another topic for another time. But no, they are. They're baby. And I guess I'm not so sure. I guess what you're asking is like, do I see people struggle? Yeah, and everyone's struggling. Times are tough. We're going into a recession right now, and
Yeah.
things. Life's hard.
Yeah.
But I always wish like every like my fellow indies like the best of luck, and what they're creating. You truly believe in it. Like I wish a million sales numbers for every single one. It's
Yeah.
just it's hard.
Yeah.
Things are always hard.
I mean, my perspective on indie stuff has really changed over the last couple. I would say, I want to say a couple years, but really over the last year. Not that I really disliked indie games, but like it would really take a lot for one to pull me in. Um, and as a group of people who are running, trying to run a business, whether it's successful or not so successful, I think obviously someone like Yacht Club is a studio that I look up to because they, you guys kind of did it. You did it, and like I know you said everybody's struggling, but like you did it. You have this hit. You have this great thing that you can point to. Shovel Knight is the mascot of indie games. I mean, it
Yeah.
really feels like that sometimes, and I just really appreciate that. Really.
No, no, I definitely agree. And like the thing is, I was at the team. I was not there at the time, but like when they were starting up the original Shovel Knight game, like there was a lot of struggle there.
Hmm.
Like they maxed credit cards, they try to have ends meet. There was a lot of things that they really put in the footwork to get Shovel Knight off the ground, and it turned Yacht Club games into Yacht Club games.
Hmm.
And so with that acknowledging, and understanding like I guess the hustle that it takes to really, get your game out there. I have the utmost respect for other indie studios.
Yeah. I mean, even though as I've gotten older, I've started respecting, all kinds of things differently. You putting more perspective on that has really made me appreciate it more, I think, too. So even tonight. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up this episode of the Boss Rush podcast. Celia, thank you for joining us tonight. This was really great. It's really exciting for me as a huge Yacht Club fan. You want to tell everybody where they can find you and kind of what you may or may not be working on, as long as you're allowed.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so personally, you can find me on Twitter. I'm Celia B with 3 E's. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Kosher Gamer. That's my retro gaming collecting Instagram. So I post little fun
Nice.
things and talk about games. And then for work-wise, we're at Yacht Club Games on literally everything. Twitter. We are on Facebook. We're on TikTok. I made a TikTok. Go follow it. The team lets me shitpost on there, so it's a lot of good stuff. And then we're also on Instagram too. But then lastly, things that we're working on. So by the time that this comes out, we will have shadow dropped our Shovel Knight Dig DLC on Steam and Apple Arcade, coming soon to console. Stay tuned. And it's really, really cool. And check it out. I'll be posting a blog. I am working on a trailer tonight so we can finish it and announce it on Friday. So that's coming up. Also, keep an eye out for more news for Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, which is our puzzler action adventure. We're currently working on the first Puzzlers Pack DLC on Steam right now. You can play it as long as you own the base game. It's an early preview, so you can check out all that cool goodness. And then lastly, keep an eye out for Mina. It's currently in development, but we're doing really great things, and we share occasionally on Twitter little screenshots, GIFs, and silly asides. So go check that out as well. And then lastly, if you want any other Yacht Club Games news, visit yachtclubgames.com. I post all the stuff there too.
Nice.
Awesome.
Oh, I feel so
Awesome.
special knowing this
I know.
beforehand, even though we're
Yeah.
time.
It's all good. Oh, and just lastly, I know you guys are headed there, but if anyone is at PAX East, we're on the show floor. We're demoing all the games that I mentioned, and we're giving out temporary tattoos. So come get sleeves with me.
Oh, nice.
Can't wait to see it. We'll be there. Well, at least I will. I
Yeah.
will. Yay.
I'm really excited for Mina. Man, Pocket Dungeon. I loved Pocket Dungeon for a long time, and
Oh my god. Wait, do you have the game on Steam?
no, I have it on Switch.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a key. You have to play. I'll send all of you guys keys. You have to play
Ah.
the Puzzlers Pack. It has expanded the game so much. Okay, so I know, like, obviously I'm marketing, blah, 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 promoting the game, but I am addicted to Pocket Dungeon. I have played an unhealthy amount of Pocket Dungeon. And, like, for the first level, I had the world record until Dan the VP beat me. I was so bitter. But he's so talented. I love it. But the game is so good. It expanded the world. It added quandary challenges, which is, like, super wacky, different ways to play the game, new relics, new characters to play. It is so much fun. Go check it out.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
I want to say, and as far as like spin-off games go, where sometimes games make spin-offs, you're like, why did you do that? Pocket Dungeon is killer. It's killer.
So good. And like the story with everything. Did you beat it? I don't want to spoil anything if you didn't.
No, but you can spoil it for me if you want. I don't care.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it for your viewers either. So like the story, like it's so good. And it like really touched me. Like when I beat it like for the first time, like I teared up. And like I knew the ending already, obviously, but like it hit me emotionally, and so play the game and beat it. It's so fun.
So good. Well, thank you again for your time tonight. I know you are busy, especially preparing for PAX and Mina and all these other things. Really appreciate you joining us. I appreciate everybody out there listening. Remember, you can find us on Twitter at Boss Rush Podcast, at Boss Rush Network. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave us 5-star rating or review. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Long.
The Boss Rush Podcast is a product of Boss Rush Media, LLC, and is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio. This show is produced, written, and directed by me, Corey Deering. My co-hosts are Stephanie Klimov, LeRon Dawkins, and Edward Barnell. You can find Stephanie at Klimov_author on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on the EXP cast. You can find LeRon at Exodus803 on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and also on Crossroads, the video game podcast. You can find Edward at ThatRetroCode on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting Nintendo Power Locker. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at IamCoreyInHD, and find me hosting Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, and co-hosting Nintendo Power Locker. Find the Boss Rush Podcast on all social media platforms at Boss Rush Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and the Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.